best bites forever.
Hi, welcome to my super simple recipes series. Recipes so easy you can literally do them with one hand because that's pretty much what I'm working with right now. So I will leave links down below to the other recipes I add to the series as well as a link at the end. Make sure you subscribe if you would like other simple recipes and the other stuff that I make too once my hand gets better. And without further ado, let's rock it out. The first thing that I need to do is start my rice noodles soaking in cold water for about 10 minutes. This is the kind that I'm using, but of course you can use whatever your favorite brand is. Put those over to the side for a minute. Remember, I am working with one hand here. In this little container, I have 1 teaspoon of black sesame oil along with 1 tablespoon of olive oil. You can also use canola if you want. Here I have some ginger, which I just happen to have minced up and froze, thank goodness. But if you don't have that, you can use ginger paste. I'm using about 1.5 tablespoons. I also have some pre-chopped white onions. I added 3/4 of a cup-ish, and I'm going to go ahead and stir that around to get it coated in oil. Meanwhile, I have some veggies here. I'm going to take all of the green veggies out because I don't want them to overcook, and these are the veggies that I'm using. It's an Oriental stir fry that you can buy already chopped. Once my onions are starting to look like this, I'm going to go ahead and add in my veggies. And like I said, I did remove all of the green veggies. Once I get all of these into my pot, I just want to give it a nice stir around again to coat everything in the oil. I'm not adding any salt or pepper at this time. Here I have some shrimp, somewhere between 1/2 pound and a whole pound. These are frozen. They're already deveined, cleaned, and detailed. To that, I'm adding 1/2 cup of soy sauce, and this is actually called seasoning sauce, but it is a soy sauce. That's the one I use, and I'll put a link down below if you happen to want to try it. This is 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. I'm also adding 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and I will put all of these measurements down below, so don't worry about trying to write them all down. Give that a nice little stir, and the next thing that we're going to add is some veggie stock. You can definitely use chicken stock or whatever kind you want, but I used 2 cups of this kind of vegetable stock because that's what I happen to have on hand. Now I'm going to add in those rice noodles. They actually ended up soaking for about 20 minutes, but that is just fine. It won't hurt them any. So what is important is I want to make sure that the rice noodles end up underneath the level of the liquid, so they do need to be submerged as much as possible. Once I get them to here, I kind of decided to add a little bit more of my veggie stock. I added in a cup, but when I redo this recipe, I'll probably cut back to 3/4 of a cup. It did come out fine, but it was very saucé, like me. Okay, here I have 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the veggie stock. This is going to act as a thickener when it comes up to a boil inside there. It's kind of hurting to hold it down there, so I had to do it on the table here, but go ahead and add that cornstarch mixture once you get all of the lumps out of it and give it a nice little stir. Now we are ready to add our lid. I'm doing this on pressure cook for 3 minutes, and then I'm going to wait 10 minutes before I do a manual release. You can definitely do this stovetop if you would like to. It will work just as well on the stove. Just cook it until your noodles are nice and soft. So this is what it looks like, and you can see it is super hot. Do keep in mind that as it cools, the sauce is definitely going to thicken. The shrimp are super tender, even though they look a bit overcooked. It's like instant pot magic that the meat just comes out tender. Those are the green vegetables that I had picked out before, and they are actually going to cook just fine from the heat of what is inside of this pot. So once it cools down a little bit, you can see that it's nice and thick. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, you can cut the liquid back by 1/4 cup if you would like to, but otherwise this is what it's going to look like all plated up. And that is it for now. Enjoy the recipe and happy cooking, everyone.
Best bites forever.com